And then when I went back to Hong Kong, I was asked to do a few talks there. And I was talking to him, and in the room which he stayed in, I was staying there in Hong Kong, my parents' house. And I go, you know, Gurudev, you promised me you'd appear to me. You promised in a physical way that I could see you, and you haven't turned up. It's really not nice not to keep a promise. So the next day, I was giving actually a talk in my sister's house, which was on the 18th floor. There were about 50 people there. And somebody, an American lady who was a teacher in China, she's one of our students, Beth, and she said, oh, Nalanie, you're in Hong Kong, I'm coming to Hong Kong. So she came to that talk, and she was the only one with a camera. You see, we don't have Shanti there with a camera. So she got the camera, and the next day, she came to me with this huge photograph. And right about, I'm holding Gurudev's photograph, and there's a photo, because it was how to deal with sorrow. That was the topic. And right above my head, there was like this bulb-like star, not like a normal star. It's really like an oval block with all the rays coming out. So it couldn't be a light. We were on the 18th floor. There's no, behind was a balcony. There's no light. It was black. Yeah. You know, in Hong Kong, it gets dark like 7 o'clock, and my talk was in the evening. So, you know, even the person at the shop that did the had done the photograph, couldn't understand it at all. He said, "This is not flash. This is too perfect. It's just too perfect." So I have that photograph too. So he did appear to me. Wow. So you know, it's quite interesting. But people, you know, when he passed away, people in Australia had visions of him, and people who also didn't know him very well. And let me tell you a really nice story before we continue on the subject we are today. I saw a lady in Gibraltar, private consultation, and she came to see me. And in my office in Gibraltar, I had this photograph right there, everywhere, but right there. And she comes and we have the whole consultation. She's leaving. She said, "Oh, I like your master." And I go, "Thank you very much." Came to me, and he saw me in my shop when I had a shop in Gibraltar. And I said, "Where was your shop in Gibraltar?" "I've sold it long ago." She said, "I sold it in 1986. Oof. And I said, "His first trip to Gibraltar was 1989. And she said, no, 1986 is when I sold my shop, and a few days before, he came to see me." I said, no, the first I should know. And I said, "Besides, I know where your shop is." She explained to me. I never took him there. I was looking after his whole schedule. I did his whole itinerary. I took him everywhere, and I have a good memory. And I said, "We never went to your shop. His time was so limited. We just never went to your shop." She said, "Nalanie, I tell you, he came to my shop, and I'll even tell you, where's this long orange robe up to here?" And he came because I was having a really bad day. It was a Saturday, and I was crying, and I said I really just needed help from God, and I was praying and praying because we were losing all our money, and I had to close my shop. And he walked in, and he gave me this yellow rose, which I had for a long time. I kept for a long time till it all powdered away. And she said, "I'm sorry, this was him. I know him." I said, "Great, you're very lucky." You know, she was so adamant that, you know, there's nothing. I said, "But I have factual, all the receipts from his journey." But she just refused to believe me. According to her mind, he was there in 1986. So, yeah, and then there's another person in Australia who saw him, and Mataji told you she saw him.
Yeah, her story is amazing.
Yeah, her story is amazing because she was a nun, and then she turned to be a Swami because of that experience. Yeah. Yeah. So it's very interesting how you can tap into time zones. So this is what somebody was saying to me, called me up and said, I know this job has to be done because I keep having these dreams with this Swami telling me I have to do that. But maybe that's my own mind. And I go, listen to that dream. I said, all my messages that I've got in my path of yoga come through dreams. And I always said to myself, visions, I've had visions. And I thought, that's my mind. I said, if I hadn't followed those visions, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's not visions, it's just that when we live in this material world, sometimes it's hard to trust that there's so much more than this world. We seem to forget, oh, I must be crazy, or I must be seeing things, or maybe this is just what I want to see and it's not really there. But there's so many dimensions. So trust yourself. If you keep getting a recurring message, it is probably them telling you, and it's best to get it direct. You don't need a medium, you are a medium. So get it direct, it's wonderful, and trust it, yes.
Do you know, Vanessa wanted to ask you, she's not here in person, but she got a dream where you came very, very vividly. She woke up totally like, my God, it was Nalanie. She was all excited and she said, was it you?
Do you know, I really don't know. People tell me that they see me before they meet me. I have, Janaki, she said she saw me walking in the ashram when I wasn't even there. When she was, I really don't know what God does. I think He plays tricks on minds. I really don't know. But also, I was in a retreat in Portugal, and what's her name? Dara. She insists. She was Sonia at that time. She told everybody, she said, I'm only here because I met her in a dream, and then I saw a picture in the retreat, otherwise I would not come. She goes, I met you already and you talked to me and you told me that I have to do this, and really during the whole retreat I had to tell her off. And she came anyway. And she just needed that she was like so spiritual, but you know how when you can be spiritual without being grounded, because she had all these visions. So I said, come back to earth. You're living here. You need to be earthed. Stop being so up in the clouds, otherwise you're not going to live your life on earth well. There's a reason why you come back to earth. You have karma on this earth. All of us do. And if we keep going up in the clouds, we're not going to finish. We're just going to keep coming back and back. So, and I've met many like that, who are not grounded. And they get easily swayed, they get easily excitable, then they start to hear all these voices, and one day they're listening to one medium, another day to another one, another day to another, and they end up very agitated. Very agitated. And I've met many like that. So not one or two, but many. So I just tell them, get grounded. So I find that I'd have to tell them to do earthly things, like I never watch TV, go watch some TV programs, Get to earth, get to earth. Oh, I never do this, but then they're not here. They don't know how to function in this earth. They can't keep a family, they can't make a living, they can't keep a job. They're very irresponsible, and they think it's their birthright. And so I keep them grounded in like yama niyama. That's what I try to teach them. I said, okay, you get all these wonderful visions, but look how much pain you cause everyone around you. Do you think that is right? Is that the spiritual path? If you know God is love, where the energy is love, and why are you hurting everyone with your expertise on the spiritual world? If you are causing them peace, if you can transmit peace and you can transmit the love, I can accept your way of being. But all you're doing is throwing pebbles everywhere you're going, and people are tripping over your pebbles. That's karmic. You are on this earth. You have to pay your debts on this earth. So this is why I love the teaching of Lord Jesus, which is, be in the world, but no, you are not of this world. And this is why I look at the masters in my life, for me, that are very grounded and steady. I think, for me, this is a comfortable way to be. If I'm here, make the best of it. And I believe all of us, if we're here, we must be here for a reason. And it's hard to make the best of it, because as the subject matter today is pain and pleasure, two sides of the same coin. And I actually got one question, which is really nice, and answer it. So I hope I answered your question right. I really don't know. I know nothing.
I promised to ask, and now I'll ask.
Thank you. Tell her I know nothing. People tell me they see me many, many times, and they know me, and whatever God decides to do with His body, I really don't know. All I just know is I try to live a good life and try to be as kind and good as I can. And that's all I really know. I don't know much more than that. And when I get off the track, I ask for forgiveness, full stop.
I think you're doing good.
Thank you. But I don't know much more beyond that. So, question here. How do you respond in a yogic way when your partner is always blaming you for things and looking for your weak points?
You're looking for what?
Your weak points. Is it soft? Can you make it a little louder? First question I would ask myself, if I felt my partner was doing this to me, is the first question would be, do I always look for my partner's weak points? Because normally I see it's that kind of situation. And with all the counseling I've done with relationships and marriages, I always see it's two sides. Even though one side may be silent, the thoughts are out. Got it?
Yeah.
So maybe your partner is blaming you, and maybe you are keeping quiet, but you are thinking all these horrible thoughts. I learned this because of my own marriage. My husband used to blame me for everything. And then I noticed when things didn't go my way, I blamed him for everything too. I just never noticed before yoga. He was wrong. And I noticed that in my mind, maybe I'm sweeter with the mouth, which may be more of a hypocrite for me. That was more sensible and more truthful. It made me more of a hypocrite, didn't make me a better person. And so I learned very quickly when I started to meditate to stop doing that. And I think I tell the story of every morning I used to get up and I say to my husband, "Oh, you're so grumpy." And when I started to meditate, I saw myself saying, "Oh, you're so grumpy." I said, "Look at your own face. Look at your own." And he used to say, "Why do you always tell me that in the morning? Now you spoil my day." I said, "Don't be so sensitive. I'm just telling you the truth." Do you see? And then when I meditated, I saw my own face, and I had decided the very next day when I learned that through watching my thought patterns, I said to him, "I'm really sorry." And I started to call him, "Good morning, Mr. Cheerfulness." And his first email address was Mr. Cheerfulness, at whatever it was. He was the first person in Gibraltar to be on email via Madrid, and it was Mr. Cheerfulness. So, and he changed. After the very first day, he was never grumpy in the morning again. So it was a very powerful thing because I accepted that my role and responsibility in this. I think first question you ask yourself, are you accepting your role and responsibility in your partner's reaction? All right? Now, let's say you are. Let's say you are, he just blames you or she blames you for everything. The next step would be, do I love the person enough? What is it in me that brings out this blaming? And the third step would be, this is for my cleansing. And I'll tell you a story that I received actually this morning on the email. Let's see if I remember. I just read it once. Ah, yes. This is the story of the hedgehogs. You know in the winter how cold it gets. And so the hedgehogs decided that the winter gets so cold, so what they would do because all the animals were dying away, they would all cuddle together and keep warm. So what they did is they all cuddled together. But of course they have these long prickly things. So when they started cuddling together, guess what happened? They were hurting each other. It was painful. So they decided, okay, you know what? We can't do this. We can't cuddle together. So they started to separate. Of course, half of them died from cold. So they had another meeting. And they said, isn't it better to live than to die from the cold? Look at our friends. They're dead. The little pain at night or just for a few months gives us many months of joy. And so The last lot decided to all cuddle together in the winter, and they soon learned that part of life was taking the pain with the pleasure.
That was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and this is relationships. You know, this is part of relationships. You have the great joyous times in relationships, in marriages, the great joyous times. And then you have the times where, why on earth am I here? You know, I really couldn't be in this relationship anymore. It's annoying. It's always, my partner's always picking on me. Everything is always going wrong. It's always my fault. And you will have those days. And what I learned to do is, in my own relationship, is to say no. Not to make a big deal of it. I learned that if you talk with your friends about an argument maybe you have with your partner, as I watched other people do, it magnified it and it made it worse. And they would tell me, oh, you shouldn't take that, you should do this. I watched other people do this. My mother taught me something I think was very, very precious. She said to me, Nalanie, when you argue with your husband, I don't want to know. Because if I know, I will be angry. And I will feel it. But you will go back to him, and you will love him, and you will be angry with me for being rude to him. How wise. So, I just didn't tell anyone. I learned that in a relationship, I mean, I talk about it like this as fun, but I never talked about my problems with my husband with anyone but him. I tell him straight. You know, I don't like this. You might argue with me, but I was brave. I could take the argument, and he was brave. He could take my words too back. I don't like this. It takes two sides. You know, two fiery characters with lots of energy, because my husband was a very strong man, very stubborn, which was great. He had a personality that filled the room, isn't it true?
Yes,
He
true.
did have a great
Yes.
personality. I wish some of you could have met him.
Yes.
Strong man,
Yes.
you know, wonderful personality. So, this was the way he was, and I have a strong personality, so two strong people, you're going to get this. You know, any relationship you're going to get it. So you have to throw up the dice and see, do you want it or don't you want it? My feeling is, it's really worth it. Now that he's passed away, and I had him for 34 years, have children and grandchildren with him, 5 grandchildren now. So I see it's been a nice picture, it's been a nice story, and when he passed, you only remember the good. I don't know why when people are alive you remember the bad, because when they go, you only remember the good, which shows how much you loved each other, really. And this is why I think yoga is so good for relationships, because it's so hard. It's so hard nowadays. People have become so selfish in their lives. Partners it's all about I, me, mine. It's no more sharing and giving. It's, you know, I see people get together and it's all like a business. I do this for you, you have to do this for me. It's not like you're feeling down and I'll pick you up, and when I'm feeling down, you pick me up. Those things really keep a relationship strong, because a person will never forget how you saw them through their difficult times. They never forget. Because that's what makes a relationship. And nowadays, a little pain and everybody wants to run away.
Yeah, we fight, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yes.
Easy way.
Yeah. Now you have to decide what you want. And this is what I tell people, you have to decide. Nobody can make the decision for you. But if you want a partner in life, you may have 2 years of honeymoon period, but there will always be something. Do you want to be alone, or do you want a partner? If you want a partner, you will have ups and downs, no matter how perfect the partner is. And that's a decision you have to make. And if you decide to have them, accept all the downs and accept all the ups, and otherwise, be on your own. You can make that decision too. If you're strong enough. Many people are, many people cannot be on their own. Many people are very frightened to be on their own. But if you have the love of the divine in your heart, you get very happy. And when you're in service, you know, you're so busy looking after everybody else, you have no time to really think about anything else. So service is a great healer. You have a full life meeting wonderful people. Like I think I have a very full life. My life is so busy meeting so many wonderful people that there is no need for anything else. If there is a need, then God will send a need. It's like that. And if God doesn't want it, don't think so much. Go with the flow. This is my advice. And if your partner is blaming you all the time, another thing you can do is take your partner out for a nice, quiet, romantic dinner. And say, oh, I love you so much. Why do you constantly blame me for everything? I did it to my husband many times. Then he'd be like a puppy dog. Honestly, why? Why do you want to hurt me when all I do is love you? Because person's natural reaction is to fight back. And then there's action, reaction, action, reaction. But when you soften and you say, I love you so much, why do you want to blame me for everything? But then if you want to, it's also okay, if it makes you happy. But no, it's not personal. You know by the quality of your relationship, there is some depth, you'll know. There is something that comes from your abdomen. So many people say, oh, I want to leave, and da-da-da-da-da, and I go, you know, my Gurudev says that the pot is too hot. You won't say, should I put the hot pot down? What would you do? You just drop it. Time is right. It happened to me, one of my pupils that I know for many years, doesn't live here, is far away, and for years she's had problems with her partner. And she tried to leave, but every time she left, she had to come back. There was some thing, and I said, it's karma, you feel, you can't leave yet. I said, you will know. And just the other day, she called me up and said, the pot is too hot. My time is up now. Calm her down. And it was comfortable. It was...
Yes, really.
No, I'm sorry. It was comfortable for her. She was relaxed with it. She was sure about it. And there was no, should I? It's done. You know, I said, your children are all grown up. You have nothing to worry about. They don't mind. They're very happy. They actually encouraged her. They're very happy that she's leaving him finally. The end of the wars, you know. But most of all, she herself could live with it. Because you have to live with yourself. There's no point leaving someone and then you've got them on your head all the time, is there? You might as well be there, finish it. So these are very delicate questions, and these, you know, to really know what to do, you really have to know yourself very, very, very well. You really have to accept your personality very, very clearly. What kind of personality are you? You know, and again, I will tell you Ramakrishna's story again, because it is one of my favorite stories. You know, he had, Ramakrishna had many disciples, but there were these two. And one day, one of them was crossing the river to see Ramakrishna, and on that boat, the boatman and the people there were all saying, oh, I don't know why people go and see Ramakrishna. Who do they think he is? Who does he think he is? All these disciples coming from everywhere. He's just another ordinary man. And this disciple got very angry. He said, don't you dare speak about my master like that. Don't you dare. I'm going to take you, you say one more word, and throw you into the river. So he was very proud of himself. Everybody in the boat shut up. When he got to the ashram, he told Ramakrishna, you know, Ramakrishna, I went on this boat and they were insulting you, and I told them, you know, that if they said one more word about you, I'd throw them in the river. And Ramakrishna said to him, what? And you call yourself my disciple? You know, you should have just kept quiet. What does it matter? You should have just kept quiet. So next day, another disciple goes on the boat. And again, the boat people are complaining about Ramakrishna. And this disciple said, you know, I'm such a good student. I won't fight. I won't say a word. So he doesn't say a word, and they go on insulting him the whole boat journey. So he gets to the ashram and he tells Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna, on the boat, they were talking badly about you. But you know, Ramakrishna, I practice pratyahara. I didn't say a word. And Ramakrishna said, what? And you didn't protect me? You, my student, didn't argue and protect me? Now there was a third disciple listening to this yesterday and today. What? And he goes, Master, I really don't understand you. Yesterday you told this disciple that he shouldn't shout and he shouldn't be aggressive. Today you are telling this disciple that he was a coward and he should shout and be aggressive. I really don't understand you. And Ramakrishna laughed. And he said, my son, it's nothing to do with what they say about me or not. He said, yesterday's student has a very aggressive nature. So he has to learn to keep silent. Today's disciple and student is a coward. Doesn't like confrontation. He needs to learn to speak up. So, you see, you have to know your nature. You can't pretend I'm spiritual, so I'm going to keep quiet. And I know many people like that in relationships. Oh, Nalanie, I don't want to hurt my partner. And don't you think you're hurting your partner more after 20 years of carrying that anger in your head? Speak up. Confront. Life is, you have to face these things. There was a daughter with a mother. So frightened of her mother. Because her mother was, every time saw her, criticized her. So she dreaded seeing her mother. So she made all kinds of excuses not to see the mother. So it got worse and worse and worse. Now she was an evil daughter and a bad daughter, and the mother was telling all her friends. So she came to me broken-hearted, didn't know what to do. I said, tell her. Tell her why you stopped seeing her. Oh, Nalanie, I can't. I'm really scared of her. She's your mother. So we did creative visualization, imagined the scene like 15 times, and it really works. I tell you, this is so simple, the solution. She finally told her mother. She came back to me. She was shocked. Her mother had no idea that she was putting her down. She had no idea. That's the way they speak. I know, my mother comes from that generation. Now, comb your hair. Put makeup, you look ugly. I promise you, that's my mother. You know, in India, if you have dark skin, you're ugly. Because you look nice. You know? Okay, Mom, I can't change the color. After all, I am your daughter, but what can you do? What can you do? You know? And I used to find it quite funny. I didn't take offense because as a child, everybody used to say I had dark skin. Isn't it funny? And how everybody in the West loved dark skin. And so I used to be called ugly, which was a great gift to me in the end because I never focused on how I looked. I always focused on building up the brain, which was great for me. I think it was a wonderful gift. But, you know, mothers are like that, but she did it because she loved me. She wanted to say the worst things to me so that when other people said them, they weren't painful. So it's life. So you just have to learn to accept pleasure and pain. You just have to learn to accept both sides of the coin because they really are both sides of the coin. You cannot live in this world or any relationship without both. And Sri Patanjali tells us, should I read it to you?
Yes.
Well, that's the sutra that you don't do for the first course, so we might as well do it in
the second one.
the second one.
Good,
Well,
good,
it comes, the subject matter came, right? So
So
it's
Oui.
so book 2. It's here. You don't need your book. If you want to, it's page 20. I mean 100. Why did I say 20? Here it is. To one of discrimination, everything is painful indeed. To one of discrimination, everything is painful indeed, due to its consequences, the anxiety and fear over losing what is gained, the resulting impressions left in the mind to create renewed cravings, and the constant conflict amongst the three gunas which control the mind. Once you understand life, as Buddha says, there is suffering, you start to understand ultimately, everything ends up in pain in some way, but it also ends up with pleasure in some way. Whatever you have, you're going to lose. You brought nothing with you, you are going to take nothing with you. Your home, your family, your children, your partners, one day, all will be gone. What is yours today will be somebody else's tomorrow. Nothing is yours. And you understand that truth. So you know everything is painful, ultimately. So pleasure, so if you want a good relationship, you have to have pleasure and pain. The secret is to live in the now. And when you're in pleasure mode, be grateful. And if you're in painful mode, accept. Accept. That's all. Be grateful and pain, accept. And everything becomes much easier. This is part of life, it's never going to go away. If it's not one thing, it will always be another. I have not seen anybody without a cross. Many times people tell me, oh, look at this family, they have everything, big house, big cars, they travel everywhere. That's what I said from the outside, that's what you see. Many times I'm in their homes, they have no peace. They're always worried. When people have a lot of money, they're always worried about silly little things. And I had a shop once, and we were selling, well, in the beginning, low fashion, in the end, high fashion. And in that shop, some of the wealthiest people were the most difficult people. They had no peace. They had no peace. They're always like, is this right? And would this be right for the party? And Nalanie, tell me. And what if I put the wrong one? And it's okay. Relax. It's beautiful on you. It's really okay. You're going to look stunning. If you didn't, I would tell you. I promise I would tell you. You know? But it was so much fear. They had everything, but no joy even in their shopping. And I had somebody who didn't have much and buy a special outfit. She'd be particular about it, but when she bought it, be so grateful for it. I saw that so many times during my work in a shop. I was very, very grateful, this learning. And of course, with any business, as you know, it's seasonal, right? Winter months are very bad. So every winter month, bankruptcy would come to our language. Every summer, everything would be well again. After 3 or 4 years of this, I got pretty used to it. So my husband would say, "So bad, doesn't?" Yeah. And I go, doesn't matter. Another year goes by, and another year goes by, and another. And we saw our kids through boarding school, so we made it. And at the end, we just sold everything for very little. But that's life. You know, perfect. We had it when we had it to pay for the kids' school fees. When we didn't need it, gone. Don't you know the plan is so perfect? Everything is so perfect to you. When you worry, that's when all the pain comes in. When you just accept, well, you know, we're very lucky to have so much more. A good family, a great life, great love, great relationship. Yes, rocky, but which relationship isn't? And me and my husband said, you know, from all the relationships I've seen, darling, we have the best. I said, thank you. I've tried to convince you of that for years. I said, thank you. You know? I said, we have. You know, we're both very loyal to each other. We spend a lot of time with each other. We do. You know, we're very different, but it doesn't matter. So, you see, pleasure, it be painful. Even in the best. So, you know, just accept that what you have is a training for you to accept this. So in relationships, accept that you have partners that train you to accept all. That's all. Better to have somebody who loves you to tell you off than somebody who really doesn't like you to cause you pain. If you have two choices to choose your teacher, I would choose a teacher that would really love me more than a teacher that really just wanted to put me down all the time. And that's what I chose. So I started to look at my partner as my guru and my teacher. And every time he was shouting at me, God was scolding me. And that's all, finish. Sometimes I couldn't do it, and when I couldn't, boy, do I shout back, but that's okay too. I have a right to defend myself as a human being. No problem, I didn't feel bad about it, because I knew where I was coming from, you see. I was coming from a place of protection and love, as he would do with me. When I got into my head stuff, he would know right away. So call yourself a yogi, I loved it. Good check. Good check. Because it's the first thing they'll tell you. Good check. Am I a yogi? I go and think. Why is he saying this? And this is life. This is part of the wonderful, wonderful movie we call life. And so you cannot go through life without the dualities. So here it says, look, when you have what you wanted for so long, what happens? You have anxiety that what you have got, you may lose. Isn't that true? What if I lose it? I remember one of my students wanted a really good car. When she finally got a good car, very few days later, somebody had a dent in it. Oh my God, she came, I went to the yoga center like that. I'm like, oh, she looked at my face and she goes, oh. She got the message. She got the message. Thank God she got the message. Because so many years of studying, but it takes you. Oh my God, I got attached to the car. I remember when my father bought my new home for me in Portland House. It was really beautiful, in Gibraltar. Beautiful penthouse, 4 bedrooms. And my father bought it for me. 23 years I was waiting for a home. I got it finally. And the very first night I moved in, I had dreams of fire. The house was on fire, and I got up, I realized what had happened. In one day, I had become attached to the house. Fear came in. One day. That's how quick it takes over. And then I went the next morning, I told my husband, I always told him everything. I had this dream, and you know what? I'm going to go around this house. Don't think I'm crazy, but it's the truth. Nothing is mine. So I went, this is not mine, this is alone, this is not mine. And people should come and use my home. And really, I invited so many speakers to Gibraltar, and they all stayed in my home, which saved the center so much money in food and accommodation. I could bring so many people over in the early days, and Gurudev and everybody. So that home served everyone. So, great, it wasn't mine anyway. So when it came time to sell it, it wasn't mine anyway. It was a gift. So, and this is how but look, with that money, now I've got a bigger home. How did that work? From an apartment to a house for much less price, for half the price.
There's more people coming.
Yeah, exactly. And this is how, you just really don't know God's plan. I would have never believed. So, when you watch the motion of life, and you can see it goes like this, and sometimes you get a really nice lull. And then people tell me, oh, my life is so peaceful, I'm so scared something's going to go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I said, don't invite it. Life has enough sorrows. Don't invite more. Just live in the now. Enjoy it. If you're madly in love, enjoy it. Just have fun. Don't worry. If it's time for you to get tired, things will, what if I lose this, and what if I lose that, and what if I lose that? Just don't think. Don't think so much. Don't think. You're going to lose everything anyway. So if you're given a gift today, enjoy it. Enjoy it. And that's how I see knowing everything is painful actually has given me an impetus to just embrace life for the great moments and accept the bad moments, because they're going to come. And that's the gift it's given me, because if I don't embrace the wonderful moments and fear them, they will go like this. And before I know it, I will say, oh, why didn't I take that opportunity? And the one thing you don't want to do, being yogis, is regret. For me, the worst thing is regret. Don't regret anything in your life. If you can accept that everything in your life has brought you to this place now today, and I hope you look badly off at all. God, are you lucky? You know?
Very.
We are.
Really, you think about it, really, yes. Boy, it's no big deal. This little thing is no big deal, it's a small thing. And except that some days you are going to feel it's huge. There are some days you're going to feel those small things are huge. Say, I'm just having one of those days where I'm being so petty, accept it right away. I'm seeing this as huge. I can't do anything else with it. So I'm going to have a good cry. And then if you really, really have one good friend that you can really trust, who'll be neutral with you and who can just cry with you and hold your hand rather than telling you, oh, you should do this and leave this and leave that, and just boss you around, then go to that friend who can cheer you up and lift you up and advise you to think properly about what's going on in your mind. I see it as, the other day somebody was having this kind of relationship problem, again from far away, and called me long distance. And I said, you know, don't make any big decisions now. Everything is very foggy at the moment. It's fog. And when there's fog and you're trying to drive, and you really can't see in front of you, it's very dangerous. You might hit the car in front. What do you need to do? Take a slip road, wait on the side till you can see through the fog. And the fog always lifts. It's just a matter of patience and maybe some time out. So I said, maybe you two need some time out. 4 weeks, 6 weeks. 6 weeks is always a good time. 4 weeks I find is too little. You know? Take some time out. And the fog will lift, and you will see things more clearly. So they both have decided to do that, which is quite good. Which is really very good. But many times I give people that advice, because when you're so upset and when things hurt so much, it's very difficult to get out of the ego and go into the divine. All you'll do is, help me, why have you put me in this situation, and blame. Whereas the way to see it is, everything is here to teach me. And I need to understand this pain, and I need to understand this sorrow, just as I understand my joy. It's really two sides of the same coin. You need your heads and you need your tails. You need black and you need white. You need good. You need bad. You need to work to enjoy your holiday. If you have a holiday every day, after a while, you will find, I have found many people who retire. They just go all day thinking, I want this, I want this, I want this, and they suffer. I go, better go back to work and get a job. Or do something that you like or enjoy, or study, or take a course, or go back to university. But do
take a
something.
yoga course.
Take a Raja yoga course. Even better. Yeah. Now we have so many teachers, right? You can all help me teach. So yeah, do something with your mind, because if you don't, that empty mind will really be a devil's workshop. It really will. Is she laughing? Do you have a story to tell us? Do you have? You know that, do you? You see it all the time.
Devil's workshop, I love it.
Yeah. So you really don't want to, live in that place. So this is why, do something useful in your life. Because whether you like it or not, if the mind is not useful, it will give you a headache. It will definitely give you a headache. So, when people are telling me business is not good, and they get so everyday thinking, go take a course. What do you like to do? Do you like art? Do you like clay? Do you like this? Do you like that? Okay, you don't like anything. Why don't you go to old people's home and help one out? Why don't you go to hospitals and visit the sick? Where? And I said, use your brain. Call the hospital. That's how I started. Does anybody need help in languages? I'm here. Just offer. Just call and offer. What's the worst they can say? No, we don't need anybody. But put your name on the list, and if they got people, like every time in Gibraltar, when they got a Cantonese-speaking person, they'd call me because they needed translation. But there weren't many of those. I think in all the years I ever had 3 calls. But then I lived in the hospital 3 or 4 times a week because of all the people I knew. I went to hospitals. I used to pop in, because in Gibraltar everything is walking distance. It's not like here. I just used to walk into the hospital and see so many people I knew and just sit with them 5 minutes each, and that's it. And it would change their day.
Mm.
It would just change their day. Well, we have an organization called the League of Hospital Friends, so I belong to that. But there are things you can do. There are things that you can belong to fill your time on earth with. There's so much that's needed. There's so much that's needed. And when you go out there and you put yourself out there, my God, if you just say, I want to serve, and give me the clues, you will get so many. And it'll come, one after another. And people will start calling you. But you have to really want to, and not just say, I want to. Then, oh, it's too much. This time doesn't suit me. That time suits me. You can't be fussy. When you say service, you mean service. You can't say, oh, I'm canceling today, Somebody said, aren't you canceling? Your son is here. No. It's on the itinerary. I'm here since January. My son is here. I'll come for 2 hours. I'll leave 7:30 on the dot and go and be with him. We're having dinner out tonight. But no, why should I cancel? 2 hours is not a long time. I've given my word. Do you see, you have to give your word and stick to it. That brings substance to who you are.
Commitment to yourself
Yes.
is important.
It's for self-honor. It's self-honor. You have to build up your spiritual muscle, and you have to build up your word. When you give somebody your word and you keep it, you develop honor and respect and trust. But if you give people your word and every time somebody else comes you cancel, there's no honor, there's no steadiness, and there's no loyalty, and you know it. You know yourself. You don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a little hard, but isn't all life? And then when you do it, you love yourself more, you feel happier later, you're glad you did your work, and you feel you've done something for life. So the mind will be a better place to be in. So really in the end you realize, oh my God, I'm really glad I didn't cancel, because I end up benefiting always. And the kids don't see you for 2 or 3 hours. They go, oh Mom, we really missed you. Oh, for 2 hours? They're great. Wonderful. Do you see? And that's the way life works, when you just flow with it. But when you're all day long with your mind stuff, I think for me that's the biggest poison. So when you have spare time, and you're a very, very busy person, then that spare time of silence is like gold dust. It's like gold dust. So you will treat it like delicious. When I have a few hours in the morning, I don't have anything to do but meditate, I call it my most delicious morning in the world. Because it's delicious. There's no interference. It's just me and silence and my God, whatever I call it, depending on my mood. One day it's earth, one day is love, one day is something else. Some days my best friend, my worst enemy. I have conversations with God. Depends. And this is why I love the Hindu system with all the different variety of gods, because according to your mood. But it just means symbolizes energy fields and energies that you human beings have. And this is what Sri Patanjali tells us, that when we are on this earth, we will be constantly pulled by the forces of nature, whether we like it or not. And you know that. Oh, I have a human body. Guess what? I'm always going to be pulled. Always. Doesn't matter how much yoga you learn. Because nature has the 3 forces, the goodness. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. That's nature. And I'm made out of nature. So I'm always going to be pulled. So how do you get out of all this? You don't. You transcend it. You don't tell thoughts, go away, go away. You look at it as if you're watching a movie, and you allow it to pass like the all passes. You have the ability to allow it to pass. And you have to accept either the experience is pleasurable, either the experience is painful. And watch it. And enjoy every single second of it. Only thing you can do. Nothing else. Because this is the way of the world. And after a while, you're pretty good at doing it. Like everything else, if you practice for a long time, without a break, and with all your heart, you get good at it. You can just get good at it. You go, uh-oh, it's my stuff. I accept it. And you don't even get angry with yourself for doing something wrong or saying something wrong. You may say something hurtful, but you know, after a while, that you have not come from a place of hurt. You have come from a place of truth and love, but sometimes people need that. So there's no guilt, or there's no anger, or there's no fear, because you know yourself after so much practice. And you also know yourself, if you come from a bad place, you apologize right away. The ego will not take you over. And you accept, I am human. Sorry. This is part of the human makeup. What can we do? Some days it's going to do that, and some days it's going to be great, and some days it's going to be shaky. And so long as you stick to the yamas and yamas, life will always be like that. And for me, the most important word was, it's normal. It's normal. Pain is normal. Pleasure is normal. Both normal. And I'll tell you one story when my children were young. And I remember once my husband and I had a huge argument. And they both were in the bathroom crying. And I went to them and I said to them, "Why are you crying?" "Oh, Mom, you and Dad argued." And I go, "Why? Do you think you're special? You and Shannon, my daughter and my son, you both argue all the time. And it's acceptable. You can forgive each other and you can love each other. Even after we tell you, oh, Mom, don't scold my brother or don't scold my sister, right? But me and Dad can't do it. Aren't we normal?" Ever since that day, there was a difference in them. They understood. It's normal. Two different people living together, no big deal. We love each other. I said, we love each other like you two love each other. If you have the right to express it, we also have the right to express it. And please accept that. Yes?
Now when you talk about that content, how do you explain the pain and the pleasure to the children? When they have to go through, now you're talking about exactly the children, how you explain that situation.
Yes.
And the fight between two adults. When they have to go through a lot of emotional pain, how can you explain that? That will be the pleasure at the end.
Children are very good with stories. I would use that hedgehog story. My grandchildren, they love the chapati story, the good juju comes back to you, the evil you stays with you. Children are wonderful with stories. And I find they learn a lot. And you repeat the stories. I must have told my two elder granddaughters that story 100 times. And one day my granddaughter comes home from school and she goes, "Granny, it works. And what works? The good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you." I said, "Why? What happened?" So I went to school and there was a new French girl and nobody would speak to her. So I went up to her because I felt really sad for her, Gran. And she didn't have lunch because she didn't realize that I was taking sandwiches that day. So I gave her my lunch. And because, the chapati story, she related it to that. And she goes, and she smiled. But then Gran, when her mom came to pick her up, her mom and she called me to the car. And she took out a toy from her bag. And she goes, "I really want you to have it, Natasha." So she said, "Gran, it came back to me and I didn't even want it."
What was it you said? The good you do comes back to you.
The evil you do stays with you. Oh, I haven't told that chapati story here. You mean?
No.
Do you know that story?
No.
Oh, should I tell? I've told it 1,000 times. It's
I love all the
Maybe
stories.
it's my
I use them all the
granddaughter's
time.
favorite and I tell it so often. Okay, it's about the hunchback. There was a hunchback, lived in a village in India. And nobody liked this hunchback, because he went around saying, the good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you. And he was quite obnoxious and quite rude, didn't work, and always begged for food. So the villagers stopped feeding him and they got really angry with him. But just on the outskirts of this village, there was this woman, lived on her own. She was a widow. She had one son who had gone to war, and she hadn't seen him for 2 years. This hunchback comes outside her window singing this song, and she goes, the good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you. I'm hungry, woman, can you feed me? Can you feed me? So she goes, you poor hunchback. Nobody in the village likes him. God sent him. He's a soul. Let me feed him. So she makes a chapati, and chapati is Indian bread, black brown bread, and she gives it to him. So now he's so excited. Every day he comes to her house, and every day with the same jingle. So 6 months later, she's had it. She decides, you know what? I'm going to poison him. I'm going to poison him. This is my gift to God. Because nobody likes him, he doesn't deserve to live in this world. He's annoying, he's obnoxious, and he's rude with that song, you know. So he comes that morning, and she prepares the chapati. She puts a few drops of poison in the chapati. She rolls it out. Her hand is shaking. She's cooking it. She's just about to give it to him. She can't do it. She just can't do it. So she takes the chapati and throws it in the bin, makes him a fresh one that's not any poison, and gives it to him. She thinks, tomorrow I'll kill him. Tomorrow I'll do it. You know? And so anyway, that evening she's in her chair, sitting down, really worried about her son. She hadn't heard from him for 2 years. There's a knock on the door. She opens this door, and there's this emaciated looking man, so thin, falls on the floor. Turns him around. Ah, my son, my son! Is it really you? Oh, mother, mother, I've been trying to come home. But look at me, I'm so scruffy, so dirty, so thin, from the war, and I was just 2 miles away, and nobody would feed me or give me any food. So I collapsed. And people started kicking me, calling me lazy, saying I'm a beggar in the street. And nobody would give me any food, and I nearly didn't make it home. But then there was this hunchback that was singing this rhyme. The good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you. And Mom, he gave me his chapati.
Oh.
With that chapati, I was able to make my way home.
That's wonderful.
Amazing.
See how much karma in that?
Yes.
6 months of her feeding him taught him how to give to somebody less fortunate. She had poisoned him. She would have poisoned
Her son.
her son.
Yeah.
The good she did surely came back to her. So, do you see? So, you never know in life. You never know in life where the goodness comes. Many times in my life, I see people do so much for one person, maybe their children, or their mother, or their brother, or friend, and they get nothing back. Nothing back. And sometimes they come to me complaining, I give, and so just be happy giving. Very soon after, you know, a source will come from you. We have Debbie, right? We have a woman called Debbie. She served for years and years and years. In fact, she worked in a job for the last 4 years that was going bankrupt, and he couldn't pay her, and she still worked. And she was 70, and I made her stop working finally. She still didn't listen, so she got on and broke both wrists. And I said, now will you listen? Now will you listen? Nalanie, how will I eat? Husband didn't have a job. She lived in a dump, a real dump, in what, just 10 years ago. She's 80 something now. Just 10 years ago, living in this dump, no toilets now, just to go outside. And I go, don't worry, Yoga Center will look after you. We will feed you. In fact, we had a little cooker that we didn't need it, so we just gave it to her. I asked the committee, do you mind if we give it away? No, thank God my committee is good. They let me give everything away. So we gave So we gave it away. We're a good committee, really. I love that. You know, it's so easy to work with people like that. So we gave her that. But still not enough, and she didn't want to take charity. So what happens was, one of our people said, why don't you write to housing, tell them of your situation, you know. Anyway, she actually wrote to housing. She'd been on the housing list for years. What happens, they built this new block, and because of all the good she had done in her life, because she had a history of helping people, you know, when she started yoga, she started giving yoga for the elderly free, all that. Even though she had nothing, she refused to take a penny. So what happened? She got this beautiful apartment with the views to the bay by the government. Beautiful apartment.
Wow.
New kitchen. We did the blessing.
Beautiful.
We're all crying. We just couldn't believe her luck. Because it was only about 30 or something like that, and she got it, right? And then a few years later, 1 or 2 years later, a very, very, very distant aunt of her husband, who had nothing and he was ill and she had to look after him, died. No other relative. She got a huge lump sum. Huge lump sum.
I need you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, that, and many things happened to her. Yeah, India, shall I tell you another story? So you see, life is full of pain and pleasure. Really, these are true stories. You know, we were going to India, 34 of us at that time, and she was saying, oh, Nalanie, I really would love to go. I don't have the money. The ticket, the whole thing was 1,200 with everything included. I said, put your name down. Put your name down, because once we book the flights, we have to save the seats, otherwise we won't get this price. Put your name down. But Nalanie, I won't get the money. I said, just put your name down. You really want to go. Something or other is going to happen. So she had the faith and she put her name down. And at that time, she was the only one at the yoga center willing to go to the yoga center at 6 o'clock in the morning to give classes. Nobody has done it since her. And give hatha yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning and meditation. Now, I told her, Debbie, stop it. You only have 1 or 2 people. No, 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 Nalanie. I gave my word. I will do it. So, one day I have a patient, comes in, depression. I work with her. She's healed. I didn't know. I never ask what they do. I just look at the problem. She said, Nalanie, I'm so, so grateful. I want to pay for your ticket to India. I said, you know what? The yoga center, all of them, 34 people have decided to pay. They each paid something. They paid my ticket. And my accommodation is free anyway, wherever I go. So, right?
Yes.
So I said, I don't need the money for the ticket. So, oh, you use it for spending money. I said, you know what? At the moment, there is somebody I know that really wants to go to India. Why don't we give it to her? But I said, but I have to be fair, because there's another person I know that wants to go. But if I just give it to one and not the other, it would be very unfair. So she said, who is this lady? So I said, her name is Debbie, or better known as Lita. And she goes, oh my God. I said, what? She said, I'm the one that comes to the 6 o'clock class. And because I'm horrible at getting up in the morning, I told her I just find it so difficult. I'm always late. She gets up 15 minutes earlier every morning just to call me to wake me up. But I never knew her financial situation. She never said anything to me. So I said, well, Wednesday's coming up. I have to offer it out. Otherwise it looked like it's favoritism. I said, if the gods want her to have it, she'll get it. Otherwise, we'll divide it 50-50. Is that fair with you? The first one who takes up the offer will get it. So, Wednesday class, I said, look, I got this donation, pay for a ticket. Who would really love to go to India? Debbie put up her hand. First, she got it. And I was like, thank you. That way, I kept my responsibility of being fair. She was the first one. And then later somebody said, oh, I'd really like to go. I said, go too late, you were too slow. So, look how, when you see this in your life and you see how it just works, You know, all the good she had done. And, you know, and the patient didn't realize the two, you know, she had no idea. I already had my ticket, I didn't need another ticket. So how the gods work for us. So India was another miracle, you know. So in her life, she, you know, she just worked for the sake of it. And I watched how life returned her many times over what she'd given. So, and that's what it's all about. You just don't know. You just don't know. So never fear things when they go wrong. You don't know where it's going to come from. Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to say that Matt Damon's latest film, it's called The Adjustment Bureau. It's not a super duper film, but it's like he's a politician and he thinks he's being chased by the Secret Service or something like that. It's men in black costumes and hats. Turns out that they're angels, and they're the guys or the ones who arrange these situations so that these things happen in the film. That's their job, to fix situations like this. So suddenly she's given an apartment, or this comes up, or these different lessons that we need to learn.
Nice, sounds good. What is it called?
The Adjustment
The
Bureau.
Adjustment Bureau. Okay.
Not a super duper film, but it's interesting.
So you see, in life it is like that. It is. You just, you know, you just don't know. Don't expect. Just do for the sake of doing. That's the most important thing. And she was really doing from the sake of doing. She never did anything because she had to. In fact, I had to stop her, scream at her. Another lesson. I told her, give up the 6 o'clock class because I saw she was getting older. She was 74, 75 that time. She's 80 something now. And I said, you've got to give up that class now. Really. Because you're looking tired. You need to rest, you know? And don't do it. No, no, no. I was doing a teacher training course in Gibraltar at that time. And she'd come to that as well. And she'd come to the talks as well. And she'd come to everything. And she'd always go falling asleep. But now she was looking grey. So I said to her, please, please, no need. You come, we'll get lifts for you, we'll leave you. But no, 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 stubborn. I want to serve, I want to serve. So one day she came to a teacher training class. And I told her, Debbie, what on earth are you doing here? If you are here, I'm not giving this class. Get up and go. Go home. I want you out of this class right now. And she understood where it was coming from, but everybody else didn't know the history. So, and this was a teacher training course, which was really good, because I could hear everybody so angry at me. So angry, and I thought in my mind, okay, I'm not going to explain the situation. I'm going to see if they've learned anything of this course. Will they tell me, Nalanie, what? Will they have the courage to tell me? Or will they just sit with it? They sat with it for a week, and then they sent an ambassador. At least that was good. Nalanie, I really have to speak with you. Sure, come in. I'm really angry with you. I said, good, I know. She said, you know? I said, yeah, I know. It's okay. But tell me, why are you angry with me? I thought the way you spoke to Debbie, she's the kindest person in the world. She does everything for nothing. I didn't like the way you spoke to her, and I burst out laughing. I said, do you know, when she got home, she called me up and thanked me for it. I said, do you know, she's so happy this week that I finally told her off so she could have some rest. Because she realized how stubborn she was, and she knew and the only way I got her to rest was by shouting at her. I said, did you know that? She goes, oh no. Well, why did you shout at her in front of all of us? I said, because I tried 100 times when she was on her own and she didn't listen. So I had to do it in public. Then she listened. So that was it. And I said, it took you 1 week. I said, you know, you were angry for 1 week. What a waste of time. Now the yoga teaching is, if you had just told me there and then, but none of you in this course had the courage. Nalanie, why did you speak to her like that? That's all you had to do. I'm really upset about it. Finish, I would have explained and it would have been done. But I could hear you all so angry for 1 week. I said, it's good, at least I know you love your friend. Good, I'm really pleased you love her so much. But you see how the mind stuff goes. And this is why I love the teacher training course, because there's a lot of mind stuff that goes on in your heads. And knowing each other well, and this is why when you have the rehearsal for the graduation, these things get you close, you know, or having the Saturdays when you have lunch together, these things get you very close. And this closeness in a Sangha helps you to realize your faults in the most loving way. Now at the Yoga Center in Gibraltar, they all talk to each other when they're upset. They come to me and say, don't talk to me, you know the deal, talk to them. It's only when you can't solve it, then you come to me. But if you can solve it, always try to do it yourself. You'll like it. You know, these problems come to you because you're fearful of what? Confrontation. Always, always. I've seen people who are fearful of confrontation, saying what they think nicely, suffer a lot. Better to say it nicely than finish. You don't have to get angry about how you feel. If you feel this way, somebody's treating you bad, you can say, why are you treating me so bad? And if they say, oh, I can't stand you, okay, I'll stay out of your way, finish. There's your sign, leave. That's it. You know, my master always said, if somebody doesn't want you in your life, why are you crying? You deserve the best. Because this lady came up to him once and said, oh, my husband's had an affair, he wants to leave me, oh, crying. And I tell him I love him and he doesn't say it back. And then he looks at her and he goes, why are you crying? She goes, because it's so, I said, he doesn't want you. You should say, thank you, I deserve somebody who does, and walk out the door. I deserve somebody who loves me. You don't want me? Go. Give them freedom. You deserve to be with somebody who cares for you. You know, that was such a big lesson to me.
That's quite harsh.
It's quite harsh. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, it's hard. It's hard, and it always shakes the other person when you take it that well.
That's a good one.
It does. I tell you, it does. It really shakes them. It's like, oh my God, have I lost a beautiful partner? What have I done? They really, okay, you want to do it? Fine. The door's here. You can handle it. And the more a person becomes clingy,
Oh yeah.
they're gone. You've lost your partner.
Yeah.
You lose them. You say, play a little game, learn to be a little smart in your relationship. So why should I play? Student, what can you do? This is the nature of relationships. You know, people have big egos. What can you do? You are the yogi, think you're playing a part in the play. It's not working being clingy. What should you do? Change your reaction. Watch the play, have some fun. If you're going to suffer, at least you might as well play the dice. You have put the dice in your hand. Why give it to somebody else to throw you around? Today they feel like being kind, oh, you're so lovely. Oh, but I'm not in love with you, I'm with somebody. Oh, why would you want that? And then tomorrow, oh, why does anybody want that? I know it's painful and it's very harsh, but sometimes it's the only treatment. You know, when you have a severe illness, sometimes the only treatment is going to hospital and having surgery. You just have to cut the part out. You have to cut the poison out, otherwise it keeps going on in your bloodstream. You know? And you can't have poison in your bloodstream emotionally because that will kill you. That will kill you in the long run. And that's what I have learned from life. Be brave. So, wow, that went quick. So quickly. And if you will forgive me today, I will do the closing prayer and I will rush out because I'm supposed, it's my granddaughter's birthday also, Talia. So we did a party on Saturday, but I'm taking them all to the Chinese tonight, early dinner. I told them to go first, and I said I'll be there for 8 o'clock. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to come. No, it's my joy. It's really my joy. It's my joy. It's my joy. So we'll just finish off with a nice prayer. Tomorrow's subject in Gibraltar is also pain and pleasure. I have no idea what will come out tomorrow. Maybe the same, maybe not. But thank you for the question, whoever wrote it, because one question and I get on my road. Please sit down with the spine erect, both your feet firmly on the ground. Place your hands in Chin Mudra. If you don't know what it is, you can look at me. You can either have your hands up or down. Take a slow, deep breath. Exhale fully and completely. Inhale again. Feel the cool, clean air. Fill your entire system with dynamic energy, dynamic prana, filling every single cell with joy and peace and strength. And as you breathe out, feel all the tension, negativity leaving your body. We'll do 3 Oms followed by the closing chant and 1 minute of silent meditation. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all the darkness. Jai Shri Satguru Satchidananda Ji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sit still.